It was a big story at the time, and let's get some more on that one with ETV News anchor Annika Larsen. She joins us from Cape Town this evening. Annika, very good evening. So for anybody who might have forgotten, just a very quick history of the girl we knew as Zephany Nurse, who's now Michelle Solomon.
That's right. Hello, colleague. Well, you know, it was such a big story at the time because it was so remarkable and it could have come out of a Hollywood blockbuster. But this newborn baby snatched out of her mother's arms from the Groote Hospital in 1997 as a newborn baby. Her mother was recovering, Celeste, from a cesarean or C-section, and she'd been on pethidine. And there was a lady who had seemingly to her, being a nurse, who had taken the baby from her arms. And that woman, Lavona Solomons, ended up bringing up Zephany Nurse in a very happy, secure and stable, seemingly good childhood. And it turned out years later, I think Zephany Nurse, or Michelle Solomon as she's now wants to be called, was 17 at the time when she struck up a friendship with a young girl who seemed to have something familiar about her. They certainly looked very similar. And Mornay and Celeste Nurse, who'd been celebrating her every birthday and wishing for her return for 17 years, decided to do a DNA test, and it was revealed that these two girls were sisters and they were at the same school and they had struck up this friendship, and she was literally living, it turned out, around the corner from her biological parents. And I think it's been a very long, hard road for Michelle Solomons, and she went to the High Court with the Centre for Child Law to make sure that all child victims of crime do not get named publicly if they do not wish to do so, because of course it wasn't their choice to become victims of crime.
So I suppose many might be wondering, Annika, this evening, why now? Why did she choose now to reveal her real identity? Did it have to coincide with this book about her?
I think it really goes back to why she decided to write the book in the first place, with an author, Joanne Jowell, who has a psychology degree, so is probably the person well placed to write the book. She says she's come to terms with her own reality, and I think the shock of having to choose in the media between her biological parents and run into their arms when really they were strangers to her. The woman she knew as her mother, Lavona, is serving 10 years in jail. She had a man who brought her up as her father, Michael, who was a very solid person in her life. And I think she really wants to reclaim her narrative. I think she's 22 years old now. She has a child. And as I understand it, she's ready to be Michelle, to be the person that she chooses to be, rather than the one that was stolen from her so many years ago.
So where is Michelle now? I mean, where do we know exactly where she lives? I would understand if she wanted to keep that a bit of a secret. Which family does she kind of keep in touch with? What do we know about her situation at the moment, Annika?
As I understand it, she lives with the man who brought her up, Michael Solomon, who didn't know at the time that he wasn't her child. It came out in court when he testified. And she lives in Cape Town, I think in the same house as him, very happily where she grew up. She did some work shortly after the court case in the Department of Social Development, wanting to help people. And when I met her, she asked me through an intermediary to meet the mother of the murdered little girl, Courtney Peters, and at that time she really felt she wanted to reach out to this grieving mother who had lost her child. So I think she'll probably go onto social work or psychology, something in that realm, to try and give back and reclaim some of the trauma that she had and give back her knowledge to other people. But she's living in Cape Town, I believe, quite happily, although I don't know what her relationship is with her biological parents.
Well, you're right, Annika Larsen. It is the stuff movies are made of, and I will put money on it that there will be a movie that will be following not too long from now. Thank you very much for that.